Hey guys, welcome back to the Young Gaming channel. First, we want to give congratulations to Bazooka for winning the 600 battleforge points. Next one would be about another 600, since the next video should be taken about 2 days from now. So enter your comment below. Next is the battalion deck that I haven't even seen. I saw 2 of them with wheels. That was actually funny to actually see that in Bad Harvest. The other thing is right here is that someone actually sent me a picture and told me what was wrong with it, and I told them other than you have so much power, you can't kill these guys at the moment because we already know that you need one of the other guys to help you, which is in the bottom right side. At the same time, that person just got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 monument, I would guess, and other than that I couldn't see anything. So dude, if I miss something, just comment below or send it to me on Discord, unless he had Amy and I don't even know about it. So that's pretty much it for that one. It was actually quite funny to actually see this though, because I sometimes when you play with newbies, something bad things can happen. Now this is actually pretty cool because I actually mentioned something on the right side from here, which it was a while ago, and then on the left side I'm actually finding, finally, beside the forum, I'm finding some people with common sense to know what is good about the mechanics of the game and why things should be put that way, and why Amy actually breaks the mechanic. So that was actually the first time I see one of those yellow names actually saying something cool, or should I say actually correct. Next, Ima, actually one of his team actually are making some of these maps, and I can't show you everything because that will ruin it, spoil it, and everything like that. But let me tell you something, I was addicted to this fucking crap. I couldn't stop. By the time I finished, I already finished one of my daily, which is the 30-minute one, but we were going at it, and every time you actually fail, you go back to the beginning, which again, every time you actually succeed, you get to the next step. But let's say you go all the way to the end and you fail, you go right back to the beginning. These map has these specific puzzles that you have to learn how to play your character by knowing their special abilities and such, and how to actually do things like maybe kiting or something like that. I'm not going to get too into it, so you know guys, so it's not completely spoiled. The map is not actually finished yet. I can't wait for the finished version. I will be playing tomorrow a map with him. I can't wait to play that one. But again, at the end, once we finished the thing, I was like, God damn, that's over with. This was extremely fun. I can actually play this all day. Most of my time will be playing the specifics of maps instead of actually making videos. I swear to goodness, it was so much fun. Once we actually finished the map, again, I got my booster pack, and again today I sold that for 410 to 420. I actually sold it for 224 today. Tomorrow, maybe if I can get it for another 220 plus my 150 daily, I'm going to go right ahead and give you guys as the reward. It's gonna be 600. Next is I still going into the test server. This is where I like to spend my time. I like to test things. So I should see 2 Ring Reaver versus 2 of the bandits and stuff like that. Didn't stand a chance. So then I wanted to see what happens if Dryads start walking back and forward, which actually they do survive. So that's something I like to test in. I like to actually go not just with the Dryad. I also like to test with each card, and that's what I'm doing. Just so I can see some of the things that I always wanted to see is like that. Pure deck still needs a lot of love. Pure deck should have been actually stronger than half pure deck, and again, more than the half breed deck. And the hybrid decks are everything that you're using plus they have pure is basically those with the lost soul or stone skin. And I know what you're thinking, you can't be you can only be pure or non-pure. Well, guess what, same thing when I watch Dragon Ball Z. You can't be semi-perfect or perfect cell. That's just fucking retarded. But again, since the community and the whole world actually taking it as correct, I'm using the same thing here, half pure or pure deck. Next, we're actually going to move into something that was actually quite funny because I just remembered that I wasn't recording. Here's the ships in the Lost Soul deck that I had. See that healing? That's what the guy with the grinder didn't even use one goddamn regrowth in here. And the reason why is because why can you use regrowth if I was using the mechanic of the ships? And for example, if this guy was actually a different type of deck, maybe he was a fire deck completely or something like that, maybe fuel nature. Though I won't see many of that, but if he was something like that, then where is the heal is going to come for both of us? is going to come from my ships. So that's why I call it like playing the Lost Soul, and why the ship was actually invented for it. Sadly, the Lost Spirit ship is a 1 orb for Frost and 1 orb for Shadow and 2 orb for Neutral, which again gets a lot of abusement from hybrid decks. And then there's a problem with that. Now, the last thing that I actually wanted to talk about is I actually wanted to play around with the Nomads. And though I didn't succeed quite well in here, it could have been more power efficient that I could have used in here. I could have went ahead with like at least 2 of the Nomads and used the mines a little bit closer and just fight it off. But again, I'm getting over more of those creatures keep coming, the mob, the hostile, the bandits, they keep coming back forward over and over, so I'm just going to let the Nomads at one point start taking it for me in the next match that I actually show. However, I wanted to see more of the Phoenix. I wanted to test it more, and on different occasion map. One of my videos did get corrupted, and that was the Lost Soul, which I'm very sad about. These creatures, these Phoenix, literally here, Twilight, doesn't really matter. Once you use Embalmment and you use actually the Phoenixes, it's so powerful. I remember I have Phoenix, so I know that I use it on my main Lost Soul deck. And sometimes when I don't want to like use Phoenix and want to go a little bit harder on myself, I use Lost Dancer, the one with the siege and such. But when you use Embalmment, when you use a Phoenix, it just feels so right because it is so strong. It almost feels like if I was playing a fire deck because it's kind of nuking. So in here, I did a little bit better. One of the things I always hating is the Embalmment, how actually when you put it down, you have to wait 60 seconds. And the problem is with here is that by the time I'm already here, the other person, my other partner, is already yelling at me, screaming at me, saying, pay attention, you're supposed to be here by now already. Again, there's no patience or something like that in this game. They just want to reach into that next T2 and that's it. And just keep going for after that, speed, like a speed run basically. So I wanted to show more of these Phoenixes because they're so right in how powerful they are. At one point, I actually went with a different type of beginning. Instead of the Nomad and the mines and stuff like that, I went with Not's Trooper and just a Soul Splash. Now remember, I have Nickel Blaster in here, and I do have some cluster explosion here, and that's because I had so many people talking about the Abbey Monument and how it gives diversity. Here's something like, while you're watching this, let me explain you something about that. If you're using Emmy Monument on the third T3 monument, then you get your 4th monument. Then you're supposed to get your 5th monument to add diversity. If you're not using it that way, then you're going between T3 and T4. It's the same thing as just getting your T4 monument and not doing anything. So for diversity, most obviously you have to be using a 5 orb. So one of the chances was actually promoted to be like, why don't you actually decrease the cost by a lot and the activation by a lot after you reach T4 so you can have a T5. Many players would not agree by that. So here's the thing is, if you want diversity, you have to use a tier 5, right? Otherwise, if you're not using tier 5, like, oh, by tier 5 I mean Monument 5. If you're not using Monument 5, then obviously you're using the same thing that the gaming mechanic is giving you, which is 4 monuments. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. If you have 4 monument and using Ami monument just to get to T4, to get your 4th monument basically, then there's no diversity in there. That's just coming up out of your ass or something like that. However, if you're using T5, which is again Monument 5, then that means you're using a diversity, and that's what I try to do in this video. If you look at it, I have 5 Monument. I try to use cluster reduction, but I didn't need it in here. Everything else was searching is too strong, and I actually make it a little bit stronger later on. But at one point, my orb was destroyed, but if I was to still using cluster explosion, both of them at the same time, while using Shrine of Roar, using Thunder and all that stuff, and one point I actually get so shattered. If I was using all that, then in this diversity deck, then it would have been actually very, very strong. But again, there's no diversity if you don't have a 5th monument. The 5th monument is what makes your deck diverse. If you have everything on T4, then that's what it is. You just get the monument instead of summoning the Ami monument. So diversity has to come from T5, and if that's correct, then why do I every time I see someone talking about a diversity, it's actually someone who is either a speed runner. No, technically it's a speed runner, and then I see no video of it using a fifth orb. All I see out there, even in Twitch or videos out there, even all videos and all stuff like that, every time I see is someone using the enemy just to get to T4 quickly, just to finish the map faster. Where the fuck does this diversity come from there? You're just pretty much skipping the mechanics. There's no diversity. So that's the reason why I don't believe all that crap about diversity or anything like that. Anyway, let's actually jump into the Nox Trooper. Now, the Nox Trooper I quite liked the most. I took the cluster because I'm not using T5. I'm not going for the diversity or anything like that. I just wanted to see how Nox Trooper is when it's trying to fight in this map for difficulty 9 RPVE. And what I noticed is even if one of the trooper dies, it feeds into the soul splice, which also adds more life to the troopers, because it just keeps going and going and going. So at one point I had to actually destroy it. I don't know how the other effect worked. I didn't actually test it completely. I did put it out for a second, but it doesn't seem like the other one is gathering from it. However, I do know if I had like a harvester or I have something that actually gathers thing, that one would give it to it. That would I know, but I don't think it works on buildings or anything like that. So since I already was a T1 Shadow, I already put in Embalmer, and that allows me to just quickly just go ahead and start summoning Phoenix. And not only am I summoning those type of Phoenix, which look, Twilight, beautifully cleared, just with the Phoenix. Not only was I able to summon the Phoenix, but unlike the going fire and then Shadow, I'm actually able to use Breeding Ground, which allowed me to get some less cost for the amount of Phoenix that I'm actually summoning. Actually, I bit my tongue. I'm sorry about that. So right now, I just went down there, put up another Soul Splicer, and then I went ahead and grabbed me some Power Wells. Now I did a mistake in here. I started grabbing too much Power Wells instead of testing the deck, which did give me a lot of power, but I didn't really need it since I have Shrine of War and I'm using a bunch of spells. I should have not been keeping an eye on the Power Well from the other side. Either way, the Phoenix alone, this video should be good enough to show how awesome Phoenix is, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people, if they see this video, are going to start using it. Now, I used it way back at before 2013. I used it way back with my Frost Nature. With my Frost Shadow deck. I didn't win for Shadow Frost. I felt the Frost Shadow was actually stronger at that point, so I went with a Frost Shadow. Now, I'm actually regretting it because I think these Nox Trooper with the Soul Splicer, I never did this before. I just heard from it, so I wanted to try it, and I feel like they're really good. They're really strong. So if I ever make another deck, I will try to actually do it with the Nox Trooper and stuff like that, because it's still got the ability to use the 25 for like a snipe and so on. Anyway, I went ahead and started summoning the ships, and when I went to the left and I find out that I only have like 7 minutes, I went to start going down. And here's the thing about this deck. Some of the things in these cards for this game is just ridiculous. I prefer the things to be more pure, because I feel like those decks, should I say the pure decks, they deserve the love. I mean, they're the one who should be bringing something into the table instead of a bunch of hybrids bringing something into the table. What I mean by that is someone actually goes pure nature. You feel like this guy's going to use mind control, this guy's going to use like big heals like regrowth and stuff like that, but again, regrowth is only one orb of nature, so automatically everybody who has just that one orb of nature, no matter what monument is, if it's the 4th, the 3rd, or the 2nd monument, they'll be able to actually use regrowth. So when you see stuff like that, and and you also see the revenge is only one orb, and the revenge is very powerful for what it does. It's like 80% reduced damage, and it's split. And the damage is being split to all the hostile enemy. Anyway, even though it's very powerful in here, I don't know what they're going to be doing in the future, but I know in the end I won't be actually here. I'm going to Hightail. That's why I'm still waiting. I said that a long time ago, and I said that right now. I'm still waiting for Hightail. However, when I start using this deck, I am almost tempted to save my battleforge point, and the reason why I don't want to do that is because I'm giving my battleforge point away for those who need help in a raffle. Well, the same thing as today. There's a new raffle. Somebody else won today, 600 battleforge. Next time, somebody's going to be able to win. Now, the thing is, I really would like to have this deck just before the changes and stuff like that, because I don't know about Jorn. I picked it because I thought if I can use his ability, it would have been fun. But with Earthshaker, with Thunder, Thunderstorm, Earthshaker, and everything else that I had there for spells, Soul Shatter, and all that stuff like that, it was just clearing everything. So I might actually play a little bit more in the test server about this deck because I get everything for free. Now, I actually tried to test the luck of actually drawing these cards, and on my third booster pack, I got the 2,500 worth of wheel. Of course, you can't sell that in here in the test server. But then when I actually look at everything else that I got and such, I feel like I could have just sold the booster pack for the same amount of money. Like, that Mana Wing pretty much kind of pays for it. Anyway, this is actually going to be the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, comment below. I did definitely talk with a lot of good people in here, a lot of good representatives, and just one bad one that was just a dumbass. And if you guys want to enter for the raffle, just comment below. 600. Entering for the 600 raffle, and then in a day or two or something like that, you'll be able to get that in the mail if you actually won. Again, the last guy, nobody actually entered. That's because one of the guys who are already entered, he feels like he's fine right now in BF with what he's getting. The second person also feels fine, and this guy just automatically won because he was the only one with a raffle and stuff like that. So congratulations to that guy, and that's going to be the end of this video. You have a good one.